2 of 3 is complete in what would bring a change to how cash bail is set in Wisconsin. It's not a law, it's a fundamental change to our Constitution. Both chambers of the legislature have to prove an amendment twice, 2 years apart, to get it on the ballot for voters to give the final thumbs up. That second legislative vote happened this week. Political reporter Will Keneally with a conversation with the amendment's author.
First and foremost, thanks so much for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Oh, happy to do it.
So I'm first curious, this is obviously the second time that the legislature is considering this constitutional amendment. It's been around for a couple of years so far. Want to get a sense of what's the origin of this bill and why are we seeing this now?
So in 2017, there was a man on my street who had molested his grandchildren. And he was out on bail for about 3 months while they were setting a plea deal. And his house is right where the bus stop is. He was sitting out at his burn pit at night, and I called the district attorney and said, what is going on? I got a street full of kids. And they explained that because he's a pillar of the community, he put his house up as collateral, they do not think he's a flight risk, he gets to be out on bail. And I said, I'm concerned because he's molested these children, and I've got a lot of kids. And they said that we can't take into account the dangerousness of the situation. And I said, okay, well, we need to change that law. And they said, it's not in law, it's in the Constitution. And I said, we're going to fix that. So we passed it in 2017. There were some concerns about it. They were worried about maybe innocent people being held too long. And so we made some adjustments to it last session. And that's why you're looking at your past criminal convictions, not just your past charges. So when we passed it last session, I was actually working on bringing it back in November. And then we had the Christmas parade. So with that, we kind of geared it up a little faster than we were going to and got it done by the end of session with the plan to come back right away this year in January to get it on the April ballot. So the sooner we get this passed, the safer we can keep our communities.
And I'm curious too, knowing that this harkens back to a change that was made in the 1980s, why does this have to be an amendment versus just a regular bill?
So it's actually in the Constitution what we look at to bring you back to court. And what it is the dollar amount that will make you return. And we also look at serious bodily harm, which means murder. So what we're going to do is we're going to also change serious bodily harm to serious harm as defined by the legislature. So it will include things like child molestation, rape, human trafficking, things I think we all agree are serious crimes. But we also want the judge to go back and look at your past criminal convictions. 80% of all domestic abusers reoffend. So if you have been convicted of domestic abuse several occasions, and you come in and you say, okay, we're not going to be able to look back and see that you did that, and we let you out on bail. We've had many instances where within the next 48 hours, they've gone back and actually murdered the person that they've been abusing.
Curious too, we've heard from some kind of defendant advocates saying that they'd prefer to see this not tied to the cash component of bail. And Democrats have been pushing for perhaps an elimination of cash bail. For Republicans, is that possibly on the horizon at all?
No, it's not. Look what's going on in New York City. If you remember, there was a gentleman that was walking down the street, and I think it was in Times Square, and he hit someone over the head with this big metal pipe. That man has permanent brain damage. They arrested the man that did it, and he was back out on the street before dinner. So the no cash bail doesn't work. Illinois just went to it. I'm anxious to see what's going to happen there because their crime problem is as bad as ours, and I don't think that that's going to help them.
And come April, do you have a sense of how much support this will get? Do you expect it to pass?
I think it's going to pass. I think it's going to pass by a wide margin. Everybody I'm talking to thinks that judges already do this. It's common sense that you would look back at your past criminal convictions. It's common sense we would look at the dangerousness to the community by letting you out. Everyone assumes this is what's going on. And I think people are shocked when they find out it's not. So I think that when people understand this, I think it's going to pass overwhelmingly.
Thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, you guys.
We'll be right back.